Our next panel is all about AI. Very excited about it because AI is transforming how we all do business. And brands are trying to find the right AI solutions to help them achieve their goals. So how do you go beyond the hype and get real value from AI? Today, we're lucky enough to have brand leaders from AG1, Capri Holdings, Estée Lauder, share their strategies for assessing AI solutions, prioritizing business impact, and balancing efficiency with growth. It's with great pleasure that I introduce Leala Francis, SVP of Customer Insights and Member Experience at AG1, Suparana Shokeen, former VP of Technology at Capri Holdings, Lynda Pak, SVP and Divisional CIO at the Estée Lauder companies. And this panel is moderated by Cintia Gabilan, SVP, Centers of Excellence and Industry Initiatives at IAB. Please join me in welcoming them to the stage.
Hello, everybody. Good morning.
Morning.
Okay. I thought everybody would be caffeinated. A great energy. Do you want to try again? Good morning.
Good morning.
Good, good. I hope you're happy that it's the second panel and it was all women. Isn't that amazing? Exactly. Amazing. Cool. So I'm going to jump right in because we have amazing panelists here in a short time, unfortunately. Our theme for today is from AI pilot to astronaut, and I want to start by setting the stage a little bit. Across your organizations that have different sizes and scopes, what has been the most surprising learning when piloting or scaling an AI initiative that you've experienced? Leala, let's start with you.
So I work for AG1. Does everyone here know what AG1 is? We're a probiotic, prebiotic, multivitamin, and superfood all-in-one with the future of the multivitamin. And for us, we're a single product business. And what's been fascinating about AI, so my job, I lead product innovation and also customer experience. And so for us, the most fascinating learning was, I think many people in business go after AI and just say, let's automate everything. Let's just start big. But actually being very focused and having very clear measures of success for AI, start very, very small. And that's where you'll find success in pilots. So start small, be very focused, be very determined and accurate, and make sure you have very clear measures. We leverage an AI tool for our customer service department. We call them customer happiness. We're a DTC business, right? So it's really important to keep our customers happy. So very small, very accurate pilots, and then scale from there.
Yeah, Suparana, what has been your experience?
So I don't think there has been surprises for us, but it has been more validation as we launched several AI programs, especially with our 3 brands that, with Capri Holdings. We've seen data is the most important for us. Whether it's a pilot or you're scaling, having a strong data foundation and having clean data that the AI models can use really is important for the AI to be successful, that solution to be successful. Mm-hmm. So it's more about that and also the organizational readiness. Most of the times we've experienced we did a pilot, but the organization or the team wasn't ready to adopt it. So both the data foundation and getting the organization or the teams ready to embrace it has been the most important learning for us.
Yeah. Lynda, how do you define success even before starting AI pilot? What signals tell you it's time to launch and scale or walk away in some cases?
Well, first, we define success as really delivering value to solve a business problem. And so if there are clear business problems that are also aligned with our strategy, so we have a strategy called Beauty Reimagined, and there are very clear strategic imperatives across multiple pillars of the strategy, and we look at how AI is an enabler to whether it is accelerating consumer coverage, allowing us to innovate faster, allowing us to improve our operational efficiencies. Those are all core pillars of our strategy. And so that's knowing that we are driven by those strategic pillars, we know that we are going to look to define what success looks like. Of course, there has to be measurement along the way in terms of what are we actually going after? What does making sure we're accelerate consumer coverage look like? Is it opening a new store 6 months faster? Is it getting a new product launched 6 months faster, or however that time period looks like? That still we do have as our core base that we look to is our strategic imperative.
Leala, Suparana, do you want to jump in?
I agree with Lynda. That has been, our core strategy as well, which is tying everything we do in AI back to the business strategy. You really have to start with your business goals and map out back to your, how do you achieve those business goals through technology, but then drill it down further into where are the AI capabilities that will really help you achieve those goals and scale. So it's very important not just to go really deep into if there are AI capabilities out there in the market and jump on those. It's very important for a business as they grow to look at their business goal and say, yes, these are the areas we should look at where AI would help us scale.
Leala, we'll move to another question because we are talking so much about being tied to business outcomes. How do you ensure that AI is tied and aligned with real business outcomes and not just driven by the excitement of this over-shiny new technology that everybody wants to get their hands on?
So as I mentioned, we've been a single product business for 14 years. And as head of product innovation, it's exciting. Now we're in a place where we're launching a product called AGZ. It's a rest and restore product. And we've got our customer service team, customer happiness team. And now is our time really to drive absolute customer adoption of our new product. And so we're leveraging AI to make sure that we can manage our inbound volume, our customer queries coming in, our members who we care so deeply about. But at the same time, we're now launching this new product, and this is new for us. And so we are very clear on what we need to get done, especially as we've just gone live in Costco. And so nurturing and looking after our members at the deepest level and leveraging technology to get to know those customers and what they need and what they want so that we can make relevant conversations that stand out for our members so they stay with us for longer. So leveraging AI in conversational AI with our customers to cover things like frequently asked questions, we can automate those so that our agents can spend much more time with our members explaining the benefits of our new product, benefits of the value of a good night's sleep, for example. Lots of our inbound queries are about those things. And so making sure that we launch our products perfectly right first time is critical for us right now. So leveraging AI to support our customers, but also the data and insights to then optimize our new product development roadmap.
Yeah.
And I will say one interesting thing that we've learned, it's not necessarily always what our customers say, it's what they don't say. And we've been leveraging AI to help me spot those new patterns that we just, we've got our frequently asked questions, but AI helps me spot them faster of what we're missing and the training that we need in a new category that we're going into. So
that's so interesting. So Lynda, you talked about measurement as a core pillar to assess if a pilot is successful or not. In this question, the same question, how do you make sure AI adoption is aligned with business outcomes? Measurement sometimes can get us so far, and I love that you said what the customer is not telling us. How do you track the definition of success on a pilot like that?
Well, first of all, we don't do AI for the sake of doing AI.
Yeah.
And I think it's really important, first of all, to lay the foundation of a governance framework for a company like ours, which is a multi-billion-dollar global company. we can't have everybody just going wild, right? It's not the wild, wild west, although sometimes it feels like it in all of our environments, for sure, with AI, given how quickly it just ascended in terms of, wow, you know. So I think it's important, first of all, to look at balancing innovation. At the same time, we have to look at each of the use cases that we're looking at, right? We have to look at, you know, are we just doing it because it's interesting, or, as I said, is there a business problem that we're trying to solve, and is it going to help us enable that the resolution of that business problem faster, right? And we look at each of the use cases through our governance framework, and we have established a formal AI task force to look at that, indeed, what those measurements are, right? As I said, you know, when we look at, I brought up opening a new door faster. If we open a new door faster, then you're out in that door is selling 6 months longer or sooner than it had been, right? And we're, you know, to be able to do that and multiply by, you know, thousands of stores,
scale,
or even, you know, working and collaborating with our retail partners in leveraging some of these capabilities enabled by AI. I think, you know, right now we're at the point where it's not difficult to determine what the metrics are. Is it, again, you know, is it sales? Is it operational efficiency? Because we're getting something to market 4 months faster, right? Are we further stabilizing or looking at how we reformulate one of our products because it could be even better than it is? Although it's impossible to think that A&R could be any better than it is today, but anyway. So I think those are the measurements that we do guide to bring to the table when we are looking at each use case, right? It's not just a one thing. I mean, and we look at the capabilities across what is consumer facing, what is going to drive operational efficiencies, allow us to do things faster and better, and what do we do to make the lives of our employees, the employee experience, more elevated. So we look at it across those three main dimensions in order to determine how we measure them.
Yeah. So let me touch on employer experience. And perhaps, Leala, I'm going to ask you because you are, I think, the smaller company in scale from the three of them. AI is, you know, the adoption is accelerating. Sometimes it feels truly Wild Wild West for some. How do you manage the apprehension some people within companies have about their roles, or, you know, how would the role will change in the organization because of the technology?
It was fascinating. When we first started on our agent experience, we knew that there was apprehension, especially in contact centers. We knew that there was apprehension around, is this AI agent going to take away my work? But actually, when you think about the opportunity of engaging our customer happiness agents to say, you're going to do more interesting work. You're going to be able to do the things that make you happy. You're in this industry for a reason, and you love to care for our members. And so automating things like frequently asked questions so that they can then start to use data and learn themselves and make sure that they're, you know, progressing in their career. I just had our engagement scores. Our agents are showing, versus Gallup scores, a 98% percentile of I've learned something new this year. And how cool is that? I feel so proud that we're using AI and that our agents don't feel threatened. They feel really excited that they're going to be first in industry. You know, we were, Sierra AI is our partner, we were client number 6. And so we're learning as we go, and our agents and our teams, they feel excited to be leveraging technology and doing more interesting work. So it's automating the mundane and getting after the really important and growth aspects of their role. So I think that piece. And then AG1, you know, we are a small brand, but you know, we operate with a sort of startup mentality, and we've had no apprehension of adopting AI. again, you just got to make sure that you're very clear on its purpose, its role, and what you leverage. And to your point, Lynda, it's like very exciting for our product teams to start to go after themes and products and gaps in the market again. So making sure you're clear on what you're using it for, and it's not just sort of,
I think for us, if I may just add, for us, I think it is incredibly helpful as an organization that our most senior leaders are, advocates, or we have this as a core piece of our strategy. And when we look and what we're starting to, the language that we're starting to use is that people power AI, and it's to elevate human talent, human potential. And so that's starting to get around within our organization. And so it really helps to hear that coming from our leadership.
I got goosebumps, which I don't know if it's sad or weird, but anyway. Let's switch gears to risk assessment. I would love, Suparana, let's start with you. How do you assess and categorize AI initiatives between low risk and high risk? And that is any specific frameworks or criteria you use you can share with people today?
There are definitely industry best practices that are out there now that AI have been with us for quite some time. It's not new to us anymore. There is EU AI Act, there is regulatory framework. But looking and adopting at any of these frameworks, they all rely on some common themes, I would say. They rely on, whether the data that you're using for AI, is it sensitive data? If you're using sensitive data, then you might be at a high risk adopting that AI model, but you can mitigate that risk if you are using that data in an anonymized form or pseudonymized form. So there are ways to mitigate risk, but most of the frameworks that we have used, we look at data sensitivity, we look at business outcome, is it a high impact or a low impact business outcome, or is it really improving our productivity and operational efficiency in that area by multiple folds. So all of these factors really determine whether, using that framework, whether the AI that we are adopting is going to be high risk and low impact, or can we mitigate the risk and have a higher impact.
Any successful frameworks for risk assessment?
I'll let Lynda answer that. Yeah.
Well, we certainly leverage, there's a new cyber framework that we've looked at. And if you actually look at it and go, oh my God, cyber and AI, most of this framework is what CISOs are taking care of today. There's just a smaller subset that may be net new. So I would say, don't freak out, right? Just consult your CISOs if you have them, or your cyber SMEs. And so we certainly, first and foremost, we look at those frameworks. But outside of the standards that you mentioned, we've developed frameworks around how we manage risk. For example, and we've put guidelines and policies and guardrails in, and that's what this governance framework does for us in looking at all of this. So we'll look at it all the way from, okay, well, how complex is it to integrate? How deep into our data store, repository, is it going into? How many systems is it going to touch across the board, right? In terms of the level of complexity, we have to consider that. Or is it just pulling out some PDF documents, right? And so we've developed a framework that says, level 0 may be just pulling out some PDF documents and returning something to an employee. And if it's employee level, it may be lower risk than going completely out to anything that we're sharing with regulators or even to consumers, right? How we're leveraging that data in terms of privacy. Also, is it a mix of external and internal? Of course, we trust our internal. You have to think about, what is your threshold for hallucinations, or when you start to introduce more external, more publicly available information. So we've gone a little wider. I mean, I'm sure there are some overlaps, but we've looked at very specific guardrails in terms of when we implement, what are the additional things that we need to add on top of what
Yeah.
the standardized
So you
frameworks are.
said cyber, don't be afraid, but actually I read that as you being a large and very responsible organization taking care of privacy and IP data, which you should. How these internal guardrails and policies are put in place to protect the data, and IP of sensitive customer information, and whoever wants you to take it?
Well, I think first it's understanding what areas we really need to hone in on that may be net new. As I said, it doesn't make sense to freak out. And we fortunately have a CISO who is very calm in demeanor. And she'll look at it and say, yes, this is a new area. We need to understand what this is trying to do, what this capability is trying to do, what data it is going to require. Where does it fall within our data integrity framework that we have internally that they also govern and help manage and drive policies around. And so I think from that perspective, we have to really drill into more you can't boil the ocean and start looking at everything. You have to look at what's new and what are the new potential risk areas, what could potential threat actors do, in looking for new ways of finding vulnerabilities, and AI is certainly there. Yeah. Again, I'm not saying don't be afraid. I think you have to be on your guard, but I think it's not very productive to freak out. And so hopefully, you are looking at it from a security risk perspective, data integrity risk perspective. And because we've always had that in place, we know that it's something that we've already built a muscle for. Yeah. We just have to work a different muscle.
Yeah, totally.
No, I completely agree with Lynda. For large organizations, since security was always a big agenda, a big focus, what I've seen, AI data policies and security is more of an extension to your existing security policies. So we always had GDPR, we already had CCPA, all of these guidelines and regulatory compliance that we had to follow. We've just evolved that into an AI compliance that we need to manage while we're adopting AI capabilities. So it is, agree, it's not scary. It's just an extension now that we're adopting a new technology, and how does our teams adopt that and how the models evolve. Yeah. That's all you need to keep in mind.
You want to say something, Leala?
I think for us, as I said, we're a DTC business. 98% of our volume is built on strong relationships with our customers. And we know, we have to protect that at all times, just as with AI or even with an agent, with a human. And so the same way that we treat our customer information goes across, whether it's a human and it's analog or whether it's AI. So we're very cautious about all of that and making sure that the handover between our AI agent and our customer teams is completely seamless, and at all points the teams are very trained on what we can and can't say, and then also making sure that our partners in that journey are very clear on our guardrails as well. We lean on partners as opposed to having large technology teams, right? Yeah. And so making sure we're abundantly clear with our partners on the level of trust and the guardrails that are in place. So similarly, but I guess on a different scale.
Yeah. So what common misconceptions have you guys experienced, or do you think the leaders or teams have about AI that could potentially slow down adoption, successful adoption?
I think that idea of let's just automate and flick a switch and we get the results immediately, and you get efficiencies and you unlock efficiencies immediately, it's a journey. And as I said at the start, you start focused and you start very clear. and you build confidence with leadership that you can trust and that it is safe and that it does yield the right results, and you are deepening connections with your members. And I think just being very clear that there is human oversight required, right? This is not going to run on its own. And training and learning constantly with AI and the teams, and also investing in your people so that they can learn how to be better and how to be autonomous with the tools themselves. So from a leadership perspective, managing expectations that this is still going to require human input and oversight is critical.
Yes, completely agree with that. We also experienced the same, that we started with the conception of that AI is a magic wand and it's fully autonomous. But as we evolved and we launched several programs, we did experience that it is not autonomous, fully autonomous. You really need that human oversight to keep tuning, measuring your AI systems, AI solutions, and make your teams better. The other one that I've really noticed is a lot of retailers coming from retail feel like AI is for large retailers. It's not. It's for even small and medium retailers as well. There is a misconception that AI comes with huge costs because you have data involved and data processing, but AI is actually accessible. Like we using Gemini, we using Perplexity. AI is out there for common use, so it's not really just for large retailers. It's also for all size businesses.
I agree with everything that's been said. The only thing that I would add is you can't outsource understanding. And what I mean by that is that there are senior executives who may think that, oh, it's for consultants, it's for more the junior engineers, and one, I think AI has to be looked at or incorporated as part of your corporate culture's DNA, one, and two, we need to have the senior executives really engaged with how things are getting enabled for their operations. They can't remove themselves. Remove themselves and say, well, someone else will do it. I'll just kind of, I think this is an enabler where everyone has to lean in and really understand the true value of so that they can make strategic decisions and guide their respective teams on how to continue to move forward. That's why we're trying to get this as part of our core DNA, and not just leave it up to some junior engineers in the company.
Or the IT team, yes. Yeah. So last question, take your crystal balls out. Where do you see the biggest ROI for AI in e-commerce over the next 12 to 18 months? What is the biggest potential?
I think there are so many conversations about health and wellness out there right now. And this concept of just personalization. This is me, this is who I am, this is my age, this is where I live, this is what I eat. Tell me what I should do for myself. And I think that what I'm seeing as a trend is so many more people taking control of their own health themselves and being very knowledgeable about their nutritional health. And it's really exciting for us to be able to take our knowledge, our nutritional expertise, cool opportunity for us. We have our head of science, Ralph Esposito, but imagine all of our members, our subscribers having access to him. Like, that's really special for us. So I think for us, product innovation, getting there faster, quicker, better product roadmap, and then just like leveraging our expertise for the benefit of our members.
Cool. Suparana?
Yes, I would say, personally as well at home, what I see with my Gen Z kids, voice commerce and search. Like, I see the next generation not sitting on iPads or laptops or even on phone, but like telling Alexa asking Alexa what would be the right product for XYZ. I've seen that change come in our personal lives. So I feel voice commerce and search using AI capabilities in that space, yes, it's tied back to hyper-personalization and other aspects, but that's where I have seen personally as well, not just being a retailer and in technology, but as a mom who's bringing up teenage daughter on how she's adopting AI and technology. That's where I see the biggest change coming in.
Awesome.
I concur about hyper-personalization. I think personalization, I fear that sometimes it's overly used as to what personalization actually is. It's having that experience that makes you feel great, right? And whatever that experience is, and I think it was Kelly in another session where she talked about the feeling. That's why technology and creativity is a power couple or the match made in heaven or something like that. And it's that feeling that we're going to be bringing to our consumers, whether it's about health and wellness, but I think it's also understanding maybe intent, and AI is starting to understand intent. I mean, we've had capabilities on e-com and et cetera, but the intent, that is getting really smarter. And so understanding intent is going to be, what's she thinking about? Well, how's she feeling today? If Alexa could sense how I'm feeling based on, how I walked into my kitchen, I mean, I guess I'd kind of like it. At the same time, I go, wow. So I think there's that personalized, curated, to make me feel great, whether it's freeing up space, whether it's making me feel great about how I'm feeling today. Oh, your heart rate is X, or somehow being able to do all of that to help me throughout my day, right?
Yes.
As busy moms
Especially routines.
Busy moms,
Busy
and
moms.
executives in our field.
Cool. Everybody give a hand to our amazing panel. Thank you so much.